Jon Jones just went from the greatest of all time to the greatest duck of all time. We know Jon Jones, right? Jon Jones has been in the UFC for such a long time, but now is ducking Tom Aspinall, not even trying to hide it, guys. I'm gonna be real. Jon Jones went on Twitter and had one of the most epic rants and some of the crazy rationalization I have seen from MMA fighter in a long time. Jon Jones is delusional, and we're gonna get into it in this video, but before we get into it, guys, I want to remind you guys to the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, guys. We're almost at 13K. You guys have been killing it with the support. Hit the notification bell to help the algorithms suggest my video to other people. All right, let's get into it, though. Jon Jones in March 2023 won the heavyweight title by defeating Cyril Gane in like 2.5 minutes. The guy dominated Cyril Gane, and we were expecting Jon Jones to maybe return in a couple months or so, maybe International Fight Week, but the joke was on us because Jon Jones has still not returned since then, a year and a half later. And I'm gonna get into later about when I think Jon Jones is going to return, even a new interview with Stipe where he revealed some new stuff. But Jon Jones went on Twitter last week after, going to some training seminars, being somewhat in the news. It kind of made a big splash, right? As we know, we have to address the elephant in the room, Tom Aspinall, right? He is the other heavyweight champion. Tom Aspinall defeated Sergey Pavlovich all the way back in November and has been waiting for Jon Jones, has been calling out Jon Jones. And I've said in the past, I think Tom Aspinall can beat Jon Jones. And honestly, at this point, I think I would probably pick him. If you look at Jon Jones, one of his biggest weaknesses, in my opinion, is the boxing, right? We saw Dominic Reyes take advantage of this. And we've seen other fighters take advantage of it too. Even DC had some moments with his hands. And I think with a guy like Tom Aspinall, who's extremely fast for the division as well, is huge, taller than Jon Jones, is a bigger frame, stronger, and also has that grappling background to neutralize Jon Jones's wrestling. That is a nightmare matchup for Jon Jones, and I think Jon Jones knows that. And I think Jon Jones, being the fighter he is, being so intelligent, game planning and really paying attention to these fighters, I find it hard to believe that he doesn't see this either. And I think that is why he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. But we know, guys, he wants to fight Stipe Miocic. Now, Stipe obviously hasn't fought in a long time. He fought Francis Ngannou back in 2021, over 3 years ago now. And he is, yes, the heavyweight GOAT. I agree. I mean, yes, you could probably put Cain Velasquez up there because he did kind of lose his title, arguably due to altitude. I mean, there's definitely an argument there, but I think it's either him or Cain Velasquez. The idea was, yeah, let's put the heavyweight GOAT up against the GOAT, which is Jon Jones. And it was a good idea if it would have happened maybe a couple months after that fight. But guys, when they scheduled the fight, it was already pushing it. But now the fact that we are now, a year and a half later since Jon Jones' last fight, and Stipe has not fought in over 3 years, it's time to move on. Stipe should not fight for a title. If Stipe wants to fight a #1 contenders fight, I totally get that. But at the end of the day, he lost his title. It wasn't even like he retired his title and vacated it. He lost his title due to a brutal knockout, and it isn't a fight that I don't think fans even care about. Like, this isn't a massive pay-per-view fight that people care about. A massive fight that people do care about is Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. But we had believed, yeah, Jon Jones is going to retire after the Stipe Miocic fight and would most likely leave Tom Aspinall to become the official heavyweight champion. But it turns out that Jon Jones once again amazes us all by saying after he beats Stipe Miocic, he wants to fight Alex Pereira. Guys, where do I even begin with this? All right, guys, so obviously Alex Pereira has had quite, the UFC career. In the span of like 3 years, has become a double champion, has now defended his light heavyweight title, a title Jon Jones once held. And Jon Jones is talking about fighting Alex Pereira, and Alex Pereira did talk about perhaps fighting Tom Aspinall, perhaps moving up to heavyweight at some point. So I guess the idea is that Alex Pereira would be able to get a third belt, like the only guy to get 3 UFC championships in UFC history, and move up to fight Jon Jones. Now, there's a whole lot of issues with this, and let's just call it what it is. This is Jon Jones finding the best stylistic matchup for him to ride off into the sunset, which can you blame him for as a person? No, but at the same time, if you're a champion, then I have a lot less respect for that, and I'll get into why in a second. But look, if you're comparing Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, as I talk about Tom Aspinall, he is a really big guy, and so is Alex Pereira for sure. But when we're talking about grappling, Tom Aspinall definitely has it over Alex Pereira. And plus, Tom Aspinall has been a heavyweight his whole life, and he also has some really good jiu-jitsu and things like that. But when you look at a guy like Alex Pereira, I mean, let's face it, the guy comes from glory. We know his biggest weakness is his wrestling, and we know that's one of Jon Jones's best strengths. So if we're just looking at it from a pure stylistic matchup, we have a guy like Alex Pereira who, lacks the grappling, lacks the weight, moving up a weight class, and he's going to take on a challenge of Jon Jones. Like, really, this seems like a one-sided matchup, and it seems like a matchup that really extremely favors Jon Jones, just like the Stipe matchup. So for me, I think the elephant is clearly in the room, and I don't have to be a genius to say this. He's clearly trying to find the easiest fights for the biggest payday. Would him and Alex Pereira be a big fight? Absolutely. If they decide to do Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones next, I have more respect for that than Jon Jones going to fight Stipe. At least that makes sense. It's champ versus champ. It's a big legacy fight, and there's more to argue that it is a legacy fight. But at this point, is Stipe a legacy fight? Does anyone care if Jon Jones goes out there and obliterates Stipe? Now, I have learned this year, never say never. With all the upsets that we've seen, with Ryan Garcia just beating Devin Haney, I am never going to ever say on the channel that nobody could not win a fight. Stipe could go out there and knock out Jon Jones. It's facts, and honestly, I think Stipe in his prime gives Jon Jones a lot of problems. However, it's just the obvious in the room. If we're talking about who has the best chance, Stipe is a guy who has not fought in over 3 years, who is older now, out, and he was like a full-time firefighter not so long ago, so we know he wasn't consistently training, getting ready for this moment. Let's just be honest, in my opinion, I think Stipe is just here for a payday, and I don't blame him for taking advantage of that. He even went on the Jackson podcast to say this was his exact reason, that he doesn't want to fight anyone else, he just wants to fight Jon Jones. And he also said something interesting and said that, yeah, apparently that they were targeting this fight for July, but now apparently this is getting retargeted for the MSG card, which was when this fight was originally scheduled. So now we're waiting a whole extra year for this fight to happen, and I'm not surprised, guys. I'm really not surprised that they're gonna have this fight at MSG. I think I said at the time I would not be surprised if we see this a year later at MSG, just because when Jon Jones was injured and things like that, it seems to finally he's able to train. He's been posting stuff again, so I think that this fight is most likely going to happen in November. But then we also have July. Tom Aspinall is probably going to defend his interim title against someone. That could wind up being Curtis Blades. It also could wind up being Cyril Gane for some reason. I have no idea why they would do this. The only reason why I think that would make sense is so that Cyril Gane could potentially beat Tom Aspinall, which I don't think he could do, but if he beats Tom Aspinall, then there's more legitimacy to make the Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones fight. So that's the only reason why I say they would give him a title shot. But regardless, the fight should be Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. But a second option that I actually don't mind is maybe you do wind up doing a fight like Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira, and maybe if somehow, some way Alex Pereira is able to beat Tom Aspinall, I don't think that would happen, but if he is able to beat Tom Aspinall, then yeah, then I think that's a massive fight to have, you know, Alex Pereira and Jon Jones fight each other. And it would be, once again, another thing that Alex Pereira has over Izzy, something that Israel Adesanya wanted to do that Alex Pereira is able to do first. It would just make so much sense storyline wise too. But I actually do like the Alex Pereira and Jon Jones fight. Yes, it would be an extremely fun fight to look forward to. However, I just don't think you should do the Stipe fight then. Either do one or the other, unless you're gonna have Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira fight each other. But then of course you always run the risk that Alex Pereira is going to lose to Tom Aspinall, and I really don't think we're going to ever see Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall. I would be extremely shocked if that day ever comes, or if that's ever announced. Stipe could throw out his hip in the next 3 weeks. There is no way Jon Jones is fighting Tom Aspinall. And Jon Jones is smart. You gotta give it to him. He is a smart fighter. He plans always. You know, we saw he had a really good game plan against Cyril Gane. He's a smart fighter. He could see the writing on the wall. He's even alluded to this on Twitter, trying to victimize himself, saying that Tom Aspinall is the one that's actually selfish for wanting to fight the winner between a 36-year-old and a 40-year-old. Like, what are you talking about? You have the belt. That's everyone's trying to fight you. That's the whole point. If you're gonna play the whole senior citizen card, vacate that belt and go to like a nursing home or something like that. Go to a Bellator or something if you want easy fights. This is supposed to be the UFC, the best fight, the best. And I give respect to Jon Jones, because yes, at the end of the day, you could say, well, he was on steroids, he shouldn't be the GOAT. But at the end of the day, he has fought the best of the best. I mean, his resume is unbelievable. The finishes he has is unbelievable. His performances have been unbelievable. You gotta give it to Jon Jones. I do think he's the greatest of all time. And I do think that him beating a guy like Tom Aspinall does do something for his legacy, because that is a big deal. He hasn't really beaten a lot of heavyweight contenders, and fighting Stipe, I just think at the end of the day, he's gonna vacate his title, and I think a lot of people are gonna look at him a lot differently. He probably would have just done better retiring after that Cyril Gane fight. And last point I want to make, if he would have kept it at Stipe and retired at Stipe, I could almost get that, but now to call for Alex Pereira, it is just now plain as day obvious that you are looking for an easy fight, and shame on you, Jon Jones. You know, that's not what this is about. Vacate your belt if that's what you want. Honestly, a fight like Jon Jones and Stipe doesn't even need a belt to be that big, right? It could still probably be a big fight. Just vacate the title and let Tom Aspinall handle this, man. But if you guys want to watch my video where I talked about the whole Ryan Garcia testing positive for a PED situation, go check that out. It is on the screen right now, guys. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. You guys have been killing it with the sport. I seriously cannot thank you guys enough. Let me know what videos you guys want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one.